All right. Am I live? I think we're live. Yeah, the button says we're live. So, I gotta change. I also gotta change the caption because I'm joined by. Why isn't it? Okay, stop. Telling myself to stop. Okay. I am joined by my dear friend, former TYT moderator, leftist political activist, if that's what she wants to call herself. Uh, she is on TikTok. She is part of a group called Raise Her Voice for the women's movement and the women's strike. It is Lindsey Griffin, or left leaning Lindsey, as our friends like to call her. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. Sitting outside on my porch, enjoying my little jungle of plants, which always makes me happy.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you have really great plants, by the way. I
Well,
like the
thank you.
plants in the background.
I put a lot of work into them.
Oh, well, hard work. Really good hard work. It's all right. And I also want to throw out we got our first Pendulous Dragon. Thanks. Great to see you. Great to see you too. Although Mr. Ross is kind of formal. You can just call me John. No, I'm just kidding. You can call me Mr. Ross. Um, Anti-corporatist. Also, yeah. I've been doing a lot of plugging of anti-corporatist channel because I love his channel on YouTube. Uh, Two of our favorite people. Aw, don't make me cry. It's too late. No, it's fine. Um, yeah. So yeah, this is another stream. I know this is actually kind of new for me because this is my first stream where I have, if anyone cares to notice, I have a new microphone and I have a new headset, which is different. Is new. Is better because like the old headset, it broke. I mean, talk about a headset falling off the mic stand and just breaking right then and there. So I had to actually scurry around the dollar store that's across the street from my apartment and try to buy a new set. And then turn to find out not only did I have I had enough money for it, but I also the clerk, she couldn't, because it had those like security. If you ever been to a dollar store, uh, they have those like one of those little security things. So what that when the detector, so it doesn't go off. She couldn't get it off, and so I ended up having to go across the street to a guitar shop, which was lovely. They had this pair. It was like $15 on for a really nice, inexpensive. I don't want to say cheap because they don't look cheap. Inexpensive pair of headsets, and I tested them out, and they seem good. So, Pendulous asks, "Am I freezing on you?" I don't think so. I mean, I pulled your first comment up, so you seem good, my dude. You're okay. Uh, what else? Oh, I don't see. Andy Corporate just says, "I don't see Pendulous Dragon. They must be on Twitch at the moment." Oh, I'm friends with a lot of people. I'm friends with Pendulous. I'm friends with Anti Corporate. I'm friends with you, Lindsay. Considering the where we are at in the same boat. Oh, anti-corporatist also says, I better just get these comments out the way. I actually haven't been going live all that much lately because I've tried not to step on the streams of people who I know are trying to make a living at it. And well, people often, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Are we doxing Lindsay? I hope not. I hope not. I really do hope not. I hope we're doing something very good, or I'm trying to do something very good. Because this is very nerve wracking. Hey, and I also want to shout out Looney Tunes 900. Hey, Looney Tunes, great to see you. I know it's been a long time since I've seen and hung out with a lot of y'all in the stream. Because
Same for me.
yeah, I mean, personal reason, it's been kind of hard lately. I'm sort of going through the motions. I've been, you know, I've had some really tough times in the last couple weeks, so it's been really hard for me to kind of do this in the full time way that I want to. Um, and so it's, I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to I'm trying to, persevere and get through things uh, as one can, I guess. So,
Hmm.
uh, but I appreciate everyone in the chat, and uh, yeah, this is the first time. Yeah. Also, we have to shout out our dear friend Adrian Vixen, who is a fellow former TYT moderator and a Twitch streamer. Adrian
Hmm.
Vixen on Twitch. If you haven't, go sub to her channel. Or is it channel or I think I'm just gonna say stream. I always can't tell the difference between streams and channels, which is ironic because I am a streamer. I mean, you can call me a streamer, you can call me a podcaster, a political commentator, a broadcaster, even. I accept all the above. You know, it's just how it is. Okay, so enough of the enough of the warm up act. That's what I usually do. I have conversations with people. Some people are just very talkative, and then other times during the warm up, it's like sometimes people would rather just hear me talk and just people nod their heads or laugh or do something like that. But anyway, and then people come in the chat, and then I always end up having to pull their comments up just to make sure that I get everybody's chat and let everybody be heard and seen. Because we have a lot of mutuals.
We
We're
do.
mutuals with we've built a community really in the last year that that's been pretty solid, if you ask me. But anyway, we got to get through some of these questions, and don't feel afraid to not give me a specific answer. I'm not going to be offended, or however
Right.
you'd say it. So I would say, I mean, definitely, Lindsay, you and I are on the same, along with a lot of the people, are on the same page politically and socially,
Hmm.
considering how we are on the left. I guess I have to just start out with your passion. I mean, what made you passionate about politics, specifically left politics?
Um, I guess a lot of it is just being in the South and the Bible Belt and growing up, honestly, being raised in a very fundamentalist Christian church and knowing the things that I was told growing up and just never feeling like it, mm, for lack of a better term, made any sense to me. And um, I, I became disabled as a child. And so I feel like I have just been fighting for my own rights ever since then. And then you add on top of that being a woman and being queer and just trying to find my place in this world and caring about the others in these marginalized communities and wanting to make sure that we all, get our equal say in things and just having some equality and equity out of everything.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge thing for me. Living the disabled life was not easy. This
Yeah.
world, very much, this
Definitely.
country, especially, very much makes me feel like sometimes that they don't care if people like me even exist. And
Hmm.
I know I'm not the only person who feels that way. And I know a lot of people just don't have the spoons to put into the fight. And so I just try to take every extra bit of energy that I've got to put into that for them and for myself. But
Yeah. You know, I can relate a lot of ways. Oh, uh, anti-corporatist ask, is Lindsay low volume and is popping slash cracking for everyone else? Well, I should say you're using your phone.
I am.
Um, so
I'm outside too because my neighbors are
yeah,
being very loud with their music, and I share a wall with them in every single room of my house. So it was louder inside than it is out here. So that's why I came outside.
yeah.
But I can hold this up if that helps.
Oh, well, actually, this is the first time. This is the first stream where I've actually interviewed someone that's actually using their phone
Mm,
also
yeah.
to interview. Because a lot of people are doing this thing. They have they have their desktop, their computers. They have a microphone. You know, I mean, if you hear anything, I also just wanted to add, if you anyone in the chat hears something in my background, I have a fan going because it's like super hot outside, and I do not want to like extend my electricity bill by running the AC, trying to save money, so to speak, uh, because I have to in
Well,
these
and
times.
I use the phone because I mean, unfortunately, I'm a TikTok streamer, and everything we do is pretty much on the phone rather than PC. So
Yeah. Although I mean, it could be they could definitely TikTok could expand or extend, however you say it, with the phone with from the phone to the desktop since they have a website which I've
it
used.
it would be
Um,
nice, but it's very difficult. Like we found out, it's not set up for that.
yeah, yeah, it's small world in this day and age of technology. Um, Soul Life's being funny in the chat. I hope it's just
I
shouting out
mean,
Lindsay.
never know with soul life what he's gonna say.
um, oh well. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say I understand the disabled part of it. You know, growing up in the Midwest, for anyone out there, I'm from Missouri, so I'm a Midwesterner. You know, I've had to face ableism before I even knew there was a term. And it is a lot harder than you. I mean, I look back now at my time, you know, like events in my life where there were authority figures, I should say, grown adults that were taking advantage of me, uh,
Hmm.
thinking that it was in the best of my intention, when it actually was not, you know. And so I am, you know, it's one of those things where it's just like, you know, I
That's
it's just
very
like, yeah,
much something we all deal with in the disabled
yeah,
community, thinking we
yeah,
can't make decisions for ourselves about ourselves.
yeah, yeah. Also, Soul Life, we have to clarify, we're not being mean to you.
Okay.
We love you, and we're just having a fun time. So, uh, and I enjoy you being here, my dude. Because if I'm not mistaken, I am gonna put the letter also when this is all, when like the finished product goes out on YouTube. Isn't Soul Life, refresh my memory, because I do have to that my neurodivergent brain sometimes plays tricks on me. Isn't Soul Life also a former mod as well?
No, but he was a very, very active member at every single
Mm,
every single show, every single day, always in the chat, always supportive.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and was also very supportive of us leaving. I
Hmm.
mean, I can hardly even believe it's been a year.
I
I mean,
know.
hell, I know it's like when we hit the 6 month anniversary, which what I called it back in beginning of this year. I was like, wow, it's been that long. You know, it's been like it's been. I mean, because it feels like yesterday, really,
Yeah, it
that we
does.
left, and it's just like, wow. But I guess the next question, segueing into that, that's probably a good segue, is like what got you interested in left media?
I mean, honestly, it was the pandemic. Um, I bored, needing something to do, needing some form of community because um, I mean, I know we all had a point where we were kind of stuck in our houses, but for
Hmm.
people like me that were immunocompromised, I mean, I was completely isolated. And I, at the time, I did have my own YouTube channel where it talks about chronic illness. And somehow during a lot of our live streams, people just the conversations that would come up and the misinformation that was constantly coming up made me want to be more informed about what was going on. And
Hmm.
I've I've honestly never been a news watcher to begin with. And I thought, well, there's got to be something out there, and
Yeah.
not quite. I honestly can't even remember what got me looking on YouTube to begin with. And um, I found a few channels, particularly the first one I found was Andrea Ravinsky. And from
Hmm.
watching her channel, TYT, showed up in my algorithm. And at the time, I was like, wow, this is what I've kind of been looking for, a community that like-minded individuals who, you know, care about the same things that I do, want to see the same changes made that I do. And I just started following one show after another, trying to just keep up with everything that was going on, making sure I was getting, the right information. And I mean, that's honestly how it started. I didn't realize at the time because, again, living in the South, that anything existed outside of Democrats and Republicans. And
Hmm.
so I always just considered myself to be a Democrat. And because I knew where I knew from a very early age where I stood on the political spectrum. And when I found TYT, found out that progressives existed. And I mean, over time, honestly, it pushed me further and further left. But I mean, it just all spawned from there. And I started watching, just taking in every leftist show that I could.
Hmm. Yeah, that was the same way. I mean, I found. I mean, that segues into our next question. We're really getting through these questions. Like usually, it takes. I've had interviews where it's just like some people take forever. They give me these really interesting, methodic answers, and I love that. I really do. Um, and I but it's sometimes it's like some folks just they do it short, sweet, and to the point, and that's how it gets. Like, yeah, that was me as well. Like, I honestly, I don't think I've ever really said this to on live broadcast except to folks like yourself and our like peer group in private. I found TYT specifically in 2000. I want to. It was 2008. So we're talking like very, very, very early YouTube, and
Hmm.
like probably even before she who must not be named, as I'm going to call her, started. And also I'll just say the main show, the two people that host the main show that have gone obviously off the rabbit
Off
hole
the
or down the
rails.
rabbit hole. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I found them in like when they were very, very like very early YouTube, uh, and led to kind of just watching periodically, throughout, the Obama years into the 2012 election, and then into Bernie, and then becoming a mod, you know, uh, a year like 2 years ago, and then us leaving, which we will get to because again that was a big part of our story, our leftist journey, because it is. We have to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do agree, Soul Life. She'll dedicate her, making ours miserable if we say her name. Yeah, that's why
Well,
I choose not to say her name, or at least I say it in private and then I have to soap my mouth out. or say the other guy's name privately. And then piss off a bunch of fucking former mutuals because the people that are still into them, and that's not in any way taken out of context. People that are still into TYT are still giving money to them and giving all donations to them, and knowing that we should know where that's going into their pockets. But so here, I mean, so the next 5 questions are going to be TYT related, and I tried so hard to kind of keep them short and simple so we could just go through that and just you know get to the more important stuff, which is the stuff you're doing on TikTok with your political activism and the raise her voice with the women's strike. So I'm going to kind of condense these. This is probably the easy way, and it is: how did you find out about TYT? When did you decide to apply as a mod? And I'm looking down at my questions just so if anyone's asking or wondering, rather. Uh, how would you describe the atmosphere within TYT at the time that you applied for as a mod? Uh, and this one I actually kind of like. What's the proudest thing that you could think of in us mods resigning in protest? And that's probably a lot to take in.
that is, you might have to repeat some of them. My memory is not there. Um,
Oh, I understand. How did you
well,
find out about TYT?
I mean,
When did you
honestly, it was just the algorithm that triggered
hmm,
TYT because I honestly didn't know a single person that knew anything about TYT. I found out later on that a couple people that I know have occasionally seen a show or something around here, but it's just not. In general, the political activism in this part of the country it's it's not there except for during election season. Really, I mean, it's just not. And I've I've been into activism. I mean, since really, I guess started after high school, but I really needed community. And
mhm.
I would go into some of the shows and just chat with people or attempt to chat to people. But my gosh, the chat rooms were ridiculous. The four mods
Yeah,
existed there. I mean,
yeah,
there
yeah.
was, especially in like the main chats, like there really wasn't much community to be had then.
Mm.
And then I found out that there was a members chat, and I was like, oh well, sign me up immediately because everybody was talking about it's much smaller, much more of an intimate kind of atmosphere. So I um, started my membership, went in, and immediately just started meeting people. I was asking questions because there was a lot that even I didn't know. Um, Things that I just missed from being not involved for a few years. And I really found a very welcoming atmosphere and people willing to share information that
Mhm.
weren't immediately like treating me like I was, just dumb for not knowing these things. And, I explained to people like, honestly, I live in the South. There's just, you know, the education is not there when it comes to politics. I mean, Republicans, conservatism, that's what's pushed the most. And I just really found a sense of community very early on. And
Mm-hmm.
once they started, you know, getting some mods in, they got the first, I believe I was the fifth mod that they had hired. And um, I was like, okay, I got, the list of the core values. I read those things and reread those things. I really took them to heart. All of the, you know, documents, the information, suggestions, things that were given to us, ways for us to engage with people, ways for us to engage with trolls. Like I was ready to take it on. I had already been modding actually on a YouTube channel, but it was for a Walking Dead channel for like 3 or 4 years before, and kind of larger channel. I would say, I mean, it's a 100,000 subscriber channel, so it wasn't tiny, and I already knew the ropes of modding. So when they asked me, I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll do it. Like I'm here every day. I want to support and do what I can because at the time I felt like this was the only way while I'm stuck in the house, while the pandemic's
Mm-hmm.
happening. This is at least a small form of activism that I could be participating in when there wasn't much there
Right.
for me. So
Right.
I jumped right in. I mean, I really jumped right in. I was modding like 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. I didn't miss a single show for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that was my similar thing to coming in was just going in there. And also I should mention that had this if we could turn the clock back, in hindsight, you probably I would we'd still would have been there long term,
Oh yeah,
um, but like not saying like what we didn't do, like what we did do was right. We did the right thing in the end, and that's something that I'm very proud
absolutely.
of, and I know
Very
that you are
proud.
too.
Hmm.
Um, but that was my view also as a moderator was that just go in there, do as many shows as you can, keep the chat clean, you know, do your hours, and that was it. But there's also the downside to that, which was we were doing this as like unpaid labor,
Hmm.
meaning we were doing this without any compensation. Like I tell people, we didn't even get free merch. Like
We didn't
we
even get
weren't
free
getting any.
memberships.
Yeah, that's like the only thing they gave us, except like,
And not until like the last 6 months that we were, I don't even think it was a full 6 months before we left. We, finally got memberships because I asked. I'm like, you could,
mm-hmm,
because they wanted us to have multiple accounts, our personal accounts and a
yeah,
mod account and this. And it's like,
mm-hmm,
but I like being in the members chat. I'm not paying for two memberships when I also pay memberships for the damage report and over on
mm-hmm.
Twitch. And like, it
Yeah,
added up.
it's just throwing money into their own pockets when they shouldn't.
And
And
really felt like and not just what we were spending, but the amount that we would see people super chat and other donations, and just felt like nobody was getting anything in return. Yeah, we were getting
right,
the shows, we were getting the information and stuff, but when I came in, I thought that I had always heard TYT did so much more. they did
Mm-hmm.
things for, like when Emma used to go out and interview, when, just being out there in the community. And I understand that you couldn't do that during COVID. That I am
Mm-hmm.
totally okay with that because I am
Right.
very much would rather people be safe, but still just felt like, where was that money going?
Yeah. Yeah. It was much harder. I mean, because I waited a long time before I became a mod. It was, December of 2022 that I applied for the mod uh, job, and I will call it that. It was a job.
It was.
It was a um, and they had me wait. The mod coordinator had me
Mm,
wait for, say, January, February. I started like 4 months.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. So it's like I look back. I mean, if it was up to the existing mods such as yourself at the time, you probably would have had me start much sooner. As I'm thinking back in retrospect, in preparation for this interview, I was like last night, I was like, man, I would have probably started lot sooner and had a lot more, time on my hands to do things. But it is what it is. Um, and also to put a period on this topic. What's the proud? Like I said, what's the proudest thing you could think of in us? I think there was 10 of us, maybe more, uh, who
I
resigned in protest from the
think there was
TYT mod group.
11.
Oh,
I mean,
oh, that's right, because we had somebody leave after the letter got sent out.
mm, I honestly, I am just proud that it made as much noise as it did
Hmm.
because it was not a quiet thing at all. I,
No, it wasn't. No,
I
it was not. I can pull my hand up and say it was not. It was. We were getting a lot of media hype for
I
that
also just,
Saturday.
oh yeah, and there was a lot of people. I mean, I would see comments. I went back into the chat the following week for one day, that next Monday, just we all went, kind of all went in to
Mm-hmm.
add more support towards, honestly, towards Benny,
Mm-hmm.
and just to show the love that we had for her. And I wanted to see what people were saying. And, there was a lot of um, chatter of people that just didn't see what the big deal about it was. And that's fine. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't realize how much work we actually did,
Right.
including work behind the scene, all the meetings that we attended, and just in the notes alone. I mean, people really didn't. They thought it was just, pushing a couple of buttons here and there during the streams or moving some comments
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. But it was so much more work than that.
It
And
was. Yeah.
honestly, the proudest thing is just the noise that we made and the solidarity. That's what I'm proud of. It
Yeah.
really is.
Same. Yeah. Definitely. And it's still something that I myself am proud of. Uh, that I know that I've looked back a year later and realized that I did a solid thing. Um, and I also want to shout out this gentleman who says hi, Mr. Don James himself.
Aw, how you doing on?
Like to kind of because um, oh, and also our Adrian's here. Yay.
Adrian.
Okay. Um, I also have to apologize to Donald James, because when I was in my when I became a mod, I kind of like was not too harsh with him, but also like just saying, hey, you need to keep it clean, and I think I might have, you know, rubbed him the wrong way, and I would just want to say, Don, I my apologies to you. So if you see this, man, it's I hope it's nothing terrible. Now that I'm no longer there, now that we're no longer there, so I hope there's no hard feelings. Um, and we love you as well, Adrian.
Love
I
you,
mean,
Adrian.
um,
One of our fellow awesome mods.
yeah, definitely, and they're doing again. Go follow them on their Twitch channel. If anyone who hasn't, I'm pretty sure everybody in the chat,
I know.
including myself and you, have we're all already following. So that's awesome, total awesome. Um, Donald Donald James says, "Yeah, who me?" I was like, "Yeah." Let me just say this: it was probably my Oh, sorry, I just start clicking away, and then I don't know when to stop. Yeah, Don, I was. It was probably my second month moderating for the main show, and there was some. I don't even remember either, but there was. I think I mentioned something like, hey, make sure to keep your watch what you say or something, and I don't know. I felt like I'd rubbed you the wrong way. I don't remember a response, but yeah, I hope all is good between us, man. You know. So now that we're no longer working there at all. So um, it really, but it really it's all good. It's all good. Um, yeah. So the next question, segueing away from your time at T, like I guess you could say your transition from
Mhm.
as a moderator from TYT to what you're doing now on TikTok with this organization, or should I say group, uh, raise her voice for the women's strike. Uh,
Mhm.
give the myself and the chat who is here um, a little bit of an overview, if you will, on what it's
All
about.
right. All right. Well, officially, I am the social media and content manager, as well as a board member. And Raise Your Voice is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit, and we serve all 50 states. We're building a really incredible organization that's dedicated to uplifting women and marginalized groups. Our mission is to provide free education, skill development, and unwavering support with the intent of dismantling barriers, paving the way for more inclusive future. Um, we're driven by a commitment to inclusivity, empowerment, and positive change, and we're working towards a world where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. We are advocating for change in many ways. Um, we not only want to just empower people, but we actually want to show and be active in our communities, having that activism and just show, a sense of solidarity where everyone can come in, share their experiences, seek advice. Um, there's several like actual things that we are providing, such as education and training. Um, we're going to be hosting workshops and having online resources designed to equip women and marginalized groups with essential skills such as financial literacy and leadership development. Um, Another way that we're doing this is through mentorships and networking. We also have just launched our youth ambassador program, which is just I think we just gotten our first actual like commitment. Um, from one of the youth that has applied, and there'll be a lot more coming about that. We've honestly just got it going. So um, I really one of the ways that we are trying to promote our activism to really get into the community is through this nonprofit. Is or the way we're putting it into action is with the women's strike, and the strike was inspired by the Jobs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization decision in 2022, and it began with our founder Danielle Goodson, or Goodwin. Um, she put out a social media proposal on TikTok, and it was influenced by many historical strikes. And even though it just started as a national movement, it's gained international support, and we're now advocating globally for equal rights and to end gender based violence. Um, our movement is intersectional, advocating for equality for all, regardless of gender, race, ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, class, ability, background. We've that was one of the things that I'm very very adamant about is it being intersectional. That's where I have found my home is within intersectional feminism. So um, we had our first strike on June 24th, which was the 2-year anniversary of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and we had supporters worldwide that joined together for gender equality and justice, and we are doing it again on October the 4th. And so basically, we encourage participants to refrain from work or school, limit their spending, accept that women own businesses, and to wear red as a symbol of solidarity. Our peaceful demonstrations are currently being planned globally. We have organizers across, I got to readjust. I'm sorry. Sitting here for 40,
It's fine.
almost 45 minutes. Um, so we currently have organizers across the U.S. and in the UK, Scotland, and in Canada so far. Um, we also know that not everybody is able to strike. Um, we are all very aware of the, current economical, status, not just in our country, but everywhere. Um, so if you're not able to strike or to even attend a strike, we just ask, show your support by wearing red that day. You can wear red ribbons, wear red clothing, and just try to avoid any non essential purchases, of course, other than women owned businesses. Um, I do want to talk about why. Um, one thing that we are constantly asked is why red? And red symbolizes resistance and it has a historical significance in feminist movements. It represents a fight for equal rights and an end to gender based violence. The color is an archetype for passion, for love, resilience, power, strength, anger, and humanity. This color delineates our passion for equality and women's rights, our love for each other, and all of those who have led at the hands of the patriarchy. And there's many past movements of where activists chose to wear the color red for many different reasons. 2018, the Nicaraguans, they used red lipstick, and that became a symbol of resistance against their president. And in 2019, the women in Chile wore red lipstick and red scarves to protest sexual assault. The Red Power movement in the 60s and the 70s was responsible for bills, laws, and acts in support of American Indians. Um, red is also used by indigenous movements such as the missing and murdered indigenous women, girls, trans, and Two Spirit Plus, and No More Stolen Sisters. It's essential to our fight for equal rights and ending gender based violence. As indigenous women and girls, along with Two Spirit people, are disproportionately impacted by gender based violence. They make up the highest demographic of victims of sexual violence, assault, and abductions. Native women are subjected to psychological, physical, sexual, and verbal violence and abuse at alarming rates. American Indians and Alaskan Indian women are 2.5 times more likely to be sexually assaulted or raped than any other demographic in the U.S. So we also have a lot of people that automatically associate the color red with the conservative values. Um, we are reclaiming the color. We are showing Republicans that they can't control us. They can't control our bodies. They can't control the color red. This is an ascent stripping them of their power. MAGA does not own red. MAGA does not own us. We need to take back our rights, our freedoms, and we need to give the far right conservatives, and we need to not give the far right conservatives so much power. We, the people, can bring change. We have the power to create a brighter future and a better world. And the color red acts as a reminder of what we are doing for women, for children, and the innocent civilians in our country and all over the world. The strike is not just about abortion rights, it's about equal rights and ending gender based violence. It's a movement fighting against the patriarchy. Sorry, I'm trying to juggle everything. um, it's a movement of fighting against patriarchy, rape culture, and oppression as a whole. We're also doing monthly financial strikes on the first Monday of every month. We announce our targets every month. This month is currently, which granted, it is not a company that a lot of people or we would necessarily use like everyday consumers, but can you hear the train? I'm sorry. Um, Not everyday consumers are not going to be using this company. However, they are a very large business that supplies like office supplies to other businesses, and it's the company Uline. They are like the number 16th largest contributor to Republicans, and yeah, donating money to campaigns and stuff. I've gone online and read some of they promote being very women positive company to work for. You go and read some of the reviews that some of the women have left, and you will see that that is not the case at all. They're not supportive of women. So that's our target this month. Um, our target for the month of October during the strike is obviously going to be Walmart because, it's a huge, huge
Huge
corporation.
concern. Yeah.
Yep. So
I
every
mean,
month we're going to be, go ahead.
it sounds like a lot. I mean, hearing you say all that, I mean, you're obviously doing a lot of good, a lot of great in the activism world, and I commend you for that in the best way possible. Um, and as I say, this is all on TikTok, which is the other thing I
It
wanted to
is,
get on because if if you could send me the link in the finished version of after this interview is finished, when I start doing the editing, I will make sure that that's there for people to go check out who are interested. But
oh yeah.
yeah, so I guess that's kind of really it kind of goes into my next question is like how you became an activist within this movement, but you've actually really just described it. Um, and why you joined them as well. Those were my next two
I
questions.
honestly, I was
Or you should say, when did you join them? Let me rephrase.
like honestly, it was the week before the June 24th strike. Scrolling through TikTok, I found um the social media post that our founder had, put out that went viral, and I'm like, very interested in it. How is this working? How is this going to work? How is this even going to make any type of an impact whatsoever? And I realized that they were also doing some live streams, and I went in and attended some of the live streams, listened to um, the founder and two of the other board members, just talking about it, describing their vision for the future and how, they were looking for more people to join. And honestly, at the time, I felt a little lost in my activism, especially after TYT. I was extremely lost for a good while. I mean, everybody in
Yeah,
the chat knows I kind of disappeared um, because losing that community at TYT, it really hit me hard.
right.
And
Yeah,
I got off of social media for a little while to regroup and got interested, honestly, into debate talk, the debate section of TikTok, and liked going on there and just listening to people debate politics, and found my way into this. And they, I mean, it's a grassroots movement, and it's still in the works. I mean, we're still forming every, idea and putting people into place, finding where, people that want to help us, where they can fit within the organization. And I I knew I was good at social media promotion from previous protests that I had worked with, and I also knew I could do Discord, and they wanted to create a Discord community, and I'm like, I can do this. I want to help. These are my skills, and they were like, oh, we need somebody, anybody, and so um, it just started with phone calls back and forth, and we built all this up, and we're not, we're still, like I said, putting a lot of stuff into place, but we're I feel like it's finally, I'm part of a group that's actually doing something, not just saying the words. We're actually putting those words into action and
right.
really
More
creating a
saying,
community.
more doing than saying.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's always important. Um,
And
yeah,
it's
it's
hard to, when you're kind of disabled and stuck at home, it's
yeah,
hard to find ways to get into activism and to do anything from just sitting at your house. And this was one thing that I was able to find that I could be a part of. And I mean, I'm so glad. I have just met some of the most amazing people. I really, just absolute amazing people that really want to grow this community and make a difference.
yeah. I mean, um, that's great. I mean, I'm actually rendered speechless because it's like what you've described is just like really impressive, and that's probably one of the best bits of leftist political activism, as I say, you can find out there. So I'm glad that you're getting out there in this way, and making your voice heard on the left, and doing all the great things,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's again speechless. It's like really awesome. But I mean, you okay. I'm gonna kind of wrap these next three questions up so that way I'm just gonna condense it so there's not a lot of because we're actually not at our hour long time yet. So I'm just going to kind of condense. Um, so so you're involved with this group, like I said, through TikTok. Like the
Mhm.
Raise Your Voices, they have an official TikTok, and you participate in meetings and get-togethers, and there's like a camaraderie of community there.
Mhm.
Um, I guess you could describe you, I guess in a way, your own words, what the group is like, and what the camaraderie is, and also the last thing, like what are your goals in the position that you're in with this group uh, going forward as an activist.
Mhm.
That was a lot to take
Uh,
in. I know.
it was the biggest thing is I mean, we really have built an incredible community of people in such a short amount of time, and the amount of just love that just pours out of everyone every day for each other. We constantly have each other's backs. I mean, constantly checking in on everyone and lending help where we can. Everybody chips in when and where they can, and it's not even just us. I mean, we have grown a community with a lot of other like creators that are helping to push out like our movement, helping to get information out about the strike, just getting our website out, posting it on the background of their TikToks every day, and allowing us to even come in, speak about it a little bit. Um, that I mean, that right there, just it's building an entire network of people that want to be involved and make some change, and that's huge because I mean we all know this election, women's rights is the number one thing on the line. I
Yeah,
mean, it is.
yeah,
There,
absolutely.
yeah, there's a lot of other things, but women's rights, that's the number one thing.
Yeah,
That's
especially now
us
that there's the
losing.
change in the Democratic nominee now. It's
Yep,
not the current president, it's the vice president now. Uh,
yep.
Kamala Harris is now our nominee.
Well, I mean, it's also things on the other side. I mean, it's Project 2025 that we're
Yeah,
constantly have to worrying about that wants to take
yeah,
away our reproductive rights, that wants to take away our rights to vote. They've got agendas in there to get rid of birth control, to get rid of even um, IVF and IUI because they look at that as not in God's plan. I mean, it's so extensive. It is a very very um, large 900 and something page document, but there's so many sites that anybody can go on to get the bullet points of each one, and it is terrifying. It's
yeah,
terrifying.
yeah. It definitely is. I mean, like I cringe, understandably. I hope at the prospect of
Mhm.
Project 2025, how just terrible it is,
The
and
amount of people that I've met that um, before Kamala announced, you know, her campaign and everything, the amount of people that I have spoken to that have went and got their passports for the first time or gotten their passports renewed and have just been looking at their options, the numbers is astounding. Even I did.
yeah,
Even I did. And when she announced, I mean, it was just this whole resurgence of energy, which I'm working with her campaign here in my state as well in my free time. And I was actually in a meeting with the technically it was the Biden campaign when the announcement came out. And just even in that room, people, you could just feel it. The energy was palpable. It really was.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, just there's going to be a lot of pressure going on in the next couple months, and
Mhm.
we haven't even hit the convention yet for the left.
I know.
So
I think
it's
that
going to be a lot.
it's going to be huge, especially because that's supposedly when she's going to be putting out her policies, and
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see that. I mean, I'm not going to lie, she is not my perfect candidate at all, but she's still the best chance that we have. Number one, at, you know, getting rid of Trump, but
Mhm.
at finally seeing some changes in the way that those of us on the left want to see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, my prediction is just to hold my nose and vote as much as it's just I hate to sound like a pessimist, uh, because I am very pessimistic about the way things are, and like I want to be more optimistic. I don't get me wrong, like I do hope that there are some folks, especially in the Democratic Party, that will, uh, for lack of a better term, pressure, in the event of a Harris Walls presidency, to go for. I think it was announced today. There's talks of a ceasefire between Israel or was it Israel Palestine? And like
Hmm.
even that's a lot. Like that's a lot to take take in. I mean, I'll just say it. I am pro Palestine. I support Gaza. I can share the
Absolutely.
artist for a ceasefire. I you can't see it, but I have my Palestinian flag off camera that I proudly displayed on social media. I went on Snapchat and posted a picture with the hashtag Free Palestine. So, um,
I'm
like
gonna,
there's just a lot to take in, and
I'm gonna turn my light on.
yeah, well,
It's getting dark.
that's really yeah. It's almost 7:30 here on the central time zone. Yay! We have light. Let there be light.
Yay!
Um,
I think I meant to do that originally, and I just forgot.
but yeah, it was great doing this. I mean, you're one
Amazing.
of two former TYT mods that were that I'm hoping to get like as whoever like Adrian is actually the next who I want to interview. Also, I'm trying to hopefully get all of the moderators to do this. The I think the 10 of us or more, those who are willing to come on, who are if they want to, if they feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable, it's like that. I get that. I understanding because sometimes doing this as the interviewer, this show, this podcast, this stream on YouTube and Twitch that I've been doing for
It's not
4 years.
always easy to want to. It's not always easy
It's
to want to put your face on the camera
yeah,
either. And like on TikTok, my face is never. I'm doing debate, and my face is never on there. I'm just a voice, which
yeah,
is nice.
yeah. I mean, and there's also the thing of just making sure you say the right thing.
Yeah.
Don't piss people off, which is always a challenge. I mean, like
Oh,
this
it's
is my. I don't
TikTok.
know if it's coming in. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say TikTok is the even bigger challenge because you've got like all these words you can't say,
Yeah,
and it becomes this whole. I mean, it becomes a whole way of life when you're on there every single day. I find myself using TikTok language when I'm writing text to people. they, if they're not on TikTok, they have no idea what I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this 4 years, so this is technically, if it hasn't passed, it's been my 4 year anniversary, and I mean, I can tell you just it's really, 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 really rough at times. Like I don't really want to show people my first video from the 2021 because that's when I
Mm.
started streaming, and it's like I watch it now, and it is so cringy, to put it bluntly. I don't know if that's the word. If I don't know. It's just something I wouldn't use, but I know
Oh,
the folks
I look.
probably would.
There's still YouTube videos for my channel out there, and I went back and watched them maybe a year or two ago, and I was like, oh, oh, yeah, that's.
I mean, it's
I don't
weird.
know. I
It's
wouldn't
like
tell anybody where they are now to go look at them.
I wouldn't. Yeah, definitely I wouldn't. And like the last the the first video I did was 53 minutes long. I think it was like 58 minutes long rather. And I couldn't go on because I was streaming on a very crappy like MacBook Air. I had a really bad microphone that sounded terrible. The video quality was terrible. It's just like I was so nervous that if I were to show people it, they just like, yeah, just don't even bother to watch this. This is just too terrible. I think what happened, I think how I evolved is just persistence and finally having a group of people to like support me.
See, I think
Like
that that's
the folks in the
good
chat.
though. I think that that would be awesome now though to see just to see how far you have progressed, how much better you have gotten since that first one.
Yeah. I mean,
The
only
progress
time
is
will
something to
tell.
be proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always something good. And I do this because I, want my voice heard, obviously, and
Mhm.
where we came from. It's just made that even more uh encouraged. It's there's been a push, I guess I could say, for me to do this more and hope that I'm doing better. But so I actually realized I could probably do this for the Twitch side is I'm gonna try to raid somebody. I'm gonna raid who was it said that anti-corporatist says Adrian is live again.
Hey,
I know they
um,
stream on
can
Twitch
I
like as much as possible every day. So I'm going to
can I tell
try to
people?
do this. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to tell everybody where our website is raisehervoice.org. You can go there to donate. We are always accepting monetary donations since we are just starting out. And trust me, most of us are all, broke, disabled people like me trying to do this.
All
Um,
right.
and you can also find us on every single social media platform that's out there. We are looking for volunteers as well. We are also looking for other people to organize a strike in their area. And we have step-by-step guide on there of how to do that. I mean, every single thing that you would need to do that. It doesn't matter how small it is. Even if just a group of friends want to get together, wear some red shirts and hold some signs and go stand outside of one of your government buildings. Even that
Yeah.
makes a difference.
Yeah.
And then also follow me on everywhere. I'm left leaning Lindsay on everywhere, and especially come follow me on TikTok. Come listen to me debate.
Yeah. Definitely. And it's raisehervoice.com, which if you
.org.
send me the link privately, I will make sure in
I
the
will.
edit that all this gets out to the description so that way people can go follow and donate and give their time. And like you said, organize a strike, organize a protest because we need protests here in Kansas City.
Hmm.
I mean, it's been 1 year since we did a protest that I did a protest in KC, which was for basically keeping our local buses free because they want City Hall
Oh,
wanted to.
wow. That's big. That's actually very important because
Yeah, I mean, it was with
it's
the
not free
sunrise.
here.
Yeah, it's like it was with the sunrise movement, and there was a lot of Gen Z protesters. There's millennials, and then there's Gen Z. There's like a whole bunch of generational leftists, as I call them, protesting city out at City Hall for keep the bus fare free. It was nice. We actually I got a T-shirt that I is hanging up in my closet right now. Would have worn it if I thought about it. Just a lot of stuff. I have a lot of neat stuff like that. So yeah, that's about it. And I'm gonna see if this raid thing works because I haven't done this before. So let's see. I think is it raid backslash at Adrian Vixen. Let me see if anybody in the chat knows if that's how to do it,
pull,
or maybe.
pull it up on my tablet too, so I can go in and raid too.
All right, because I have not done this before. Usually, I just end the stream and say, "Hey, go." I'll be.
I'll
I
give
want
it
to
a
try to
shot.
do this. Okay,
Yeah.
we could do it at the same time.
I'm gonna make sure my volume's down so we don't get no echo going.
Yeah, that's happened. Oh, Vidingale says raid #raid Adrian Vixen. Okay,
There we go. Fighting Gil. Win in the chat
thank you so
without the
much,
quotes.
V.
She said,
And also, shouts out to V because Vidingale because she was part of the TYT mod squad. She was
yes, and go follow her. Follow
yeah.
her here on Twitch and on TikTok.
Please,
I'm on for her over on TikTok.
please, please. We're pretty much all of us are on all these platforms, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know. Okay, so I did it. I sort of did it right. Okay. Um, and so with that, I'm just gonna say thanks to Lindsay. I'm gonna say thanks to. I'm gonna scroll up to the chat. I'm gonna say y'all names uh, one by one, so I don't miss any. So I'm gonna say thanks to Pendulous Dragon, Anti Corporatist, Looney Tunes 9000, uh, same people, Soul Life. Let's see who else. The same people. Trying to think.
Donald James X.
James was in the chat. Thank you. Adrian Vixen, who we're about to raid. Vidingale, obviously. And also should say our fellow former hashtag TYT mods quit. Let's just throw this up there. I mean, I think Looney was throwing it up earlier, so I didn't have to. So yeah, just throw it up there for people to. And I will be posting the letter. So I think that's about it. I got Vidingale. I think I got Vidingale. Yeah, that's about everybody. We said Don James. So yeah, that's about everybody. So make sure that we do this, and I'm going to hit raid now. I'm actually going to do the thing where I say follow me on Twitch and YouTube, and also you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Jonathan Ross 92. I'm on TikTok, but I'm also I need to kind of get to it's. I think it's Jonathan Ross 92 there on as well. If that doesn't work, then you can also just send me a DM on Twitter, and I can just get that to you. If anyone wants to follow me on TikTok, but just be forewarned, I'm still learning, so it's gonna just give me a little time. I can only do so much at once as a person with an autism who is autistic. You did follow this time, Don James. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So with that, I'm going to say see you later. Any final thoughts, Lindsay, before we hit the raid? No?
Go out there and be active.
Yeah,
Go be active.
exactly. We
Go
will.
get into good trouble and burn it down.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to sign off. And let me just do this real quick. Double click. Okay. And then hit the captions. The graphics. No, not that one. The design. And then we'll play us out. So see y'all next time. Peace.
I can't hear you.